All right, and we will call this meeting to order. It is the August meeting of the Board of Education for the School District of Amery, and welcome our plethora of people we have here tonight. Lynn is off for the evening, but as we get going, she did have the consent agenda items and did pass along that everything looked good, so I would make the motion that we accept the consent agenda items for this month.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I don't think we have anybody signed up for community comments. Anybody have anything to say? Okay, then we'll move right on to the administrative reports, Mr. Cook.
Okay, just wanted to mention that it was a big month for us, the first week of August being the audit. So the audit's completed, and as far as the information that we have at this point, it's where we anticipated we would be. There's fund balance anticipated of approximately $125,000 additional funds at the end of the year that will add to the fund balance. Our fund balance is a little bit below state average, but there's no specific amount that is required by DPI. So we are at right around 16%, I believe, of balance.
What is the target? I thought it was 16% was right in the ballpark, wasn't it?
Districts around the state average around 21%, I believe. But,
so if we get more, does that affect your bond rating at all, or are we as good as we're going to get?
no, actually it's as good as it'll.
Yeah.
Our bond rating is as good as it can get for our size.
Right. So it makes no difference on.
Not for that, but for short-term borrowing, if you have a little higher fund balance, it helps in short-term borrowing. You don't have to as much.
Good. Other administrative reports?
Nobody? Well, there we go. Simple. This is going quick. Did want to make a note, Mr. Cook handed me this, so we have a new, or we signed up for the WASB for another year. Money well spent. Okay, so let's go to our informational items, and Wesley has.
This will also be very quick. What I need to report on today is in regards to Wisconsin Act 125, which was in 2011. I've done this for the last 4 years. And again, it applies to regular education students as well as special education students. The reason we have the slide presentation is it serves as our report for us to keep. It's a public record and people ask for it frequently after it's done. Again, I have the definition of physical restraint and seclusion. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I know the board is familiar with that. If you want to go ahead. The reason that we are required to do, to take a look and present to the board on the use of physical restraint and seclusion is to make sure that our practices and our numbers look reasonable. And again, we only use it if there's a clear and present danger. That is the only time kids are secluded or restrained. So if you want to go to the next slide. Again, the state law requires that I come to you and present this information. The building principals have submitted their numbers. And the next slide is going to show the numbers of incidents. And the next one. So district-wide, the number of incidents of seclusion were 2, restraints 14. The total number of students involved in those were 7, and they happen to all be special education students. Our numbers went down from last year. So the next slide talks about probably the most important thing, and that is this is all about training and making sure that we have staff that are qualified to identify when kids are escalating, how to de-escalate the situation. We've had several trainings, one on July 20th, one on July 28th. I included that in my board report, so I won't spend any time on that. The next slide. Again, it's very important that you know that the reasons for the training is staff really need to know how to react in high need situations as far as, do I even restrain? How do I do it appropriately? And so everyone has been trained. The next slide, our training renewal will be August 19th and August 22nd. Again, all special education staff, whether you're a paraeducator or a teaching staff member, are fully certified under the crisis prevention intervention training modules. They're half days for recertification, full day for people that are new to that training. And again, the training is really about not wanting to restrain. And then on Thursday, August 25th, our peers will have some follow-up as far as that is concerned. So that's it. Any questions?
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, moving on to our action items. Personnel, was there a reason that we have up this early? Are we gonna move that? Okay. So we will skip past that at this point. And we'll talk about the facility feasibility study and in relation to the finance committee or team that we met with, and I'll actually turn it over to Dale.
Yeah, so last week, the finance committee met to discuss some of the results from our strategic plan and different possibilities of moving forward. This could be, I guess, multiple ways to go, possibly some buildings or remodeling to help expand some existing programs. And it's a result of our strategic plan, and the administrative teams, our finance committee is made up of the board members, administrative team, and several community members. So we had a lot of good discussion, and as a result of that, we're going to be asking tonight to move forward with a facility feasibility study. So with that, I guess I would make the recommendation that we move forward with the facility feasibility study.
And I'll second it. So, is there discussion? Did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
No, I think he covered it. Last month, just as a reminder, the board did set up this finance committee, and it is written within the strategic plan, and there was a finance committee, one of the 5 key committees of the strategic plan. All of those members were invited, and several other community members, and there was excellent discussion. And the biggest reason for doing this is because the school district has a debt levy that will be dropping off after this current school year. And so we have options, operational budget options, as well as other maintenance and projects that we can look at for funding. So it's a great route to go to do a facility feasibility study, and it will give us information to set the future for the district.
And I think it's important that the feasibility study just isn't on facility, it's really a program one. So we're going to take the entire financial picture of the district into place and see, what can we do. I think obviously we've talked about this a little bit, but it's important to continue to keep this on the forefront. It's going to involve us having a tax levy decrease and trying to make up some areas that we've lost over the years with cuts, and that's done specifically through a referendum. So I think we want to move forward, and the reason that we're bringing this up today is so that we can get this feasibility study done in time, that if we determine that we want to move forward in a referendum this spring, that we will have some real good objectives in front of us, and it'll come back to us in time that we can make those decisions and still have time to get into the window of putting a referendum out sometime within the window for an April referendum.
Yeah, and also just to mention, the feasibility study would be done by an outside firm to kind of give us a different set of eyes looking at all the different scenarios, not just our own personal wish list. So hopefully we'll have some good feedback.
We think it's a really good thing. I should make note for you guys that next Monday we're having another meeting. So if you want,
29, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'm sorry, 2 weeks. So the 29th there will be another meeting, and Lisa Boyson will be there. Remember when she did that kind of that spreadsheet of what we have for options available? Yeah. She's going to kind of do that again for the whole strategic planning team and the administrators and everyone else, so that we can get an updated look at the financial picture and what sorts of options that we have available, and that'll all tie in with this as well. So I think it's a good thing. I think price-wise, you know, the motion itself, I think we're looking at, what was the, about $8,500 is what this will cost. I think it'd be money well spent, instead of us just kind of guessing and having pet projects that will have a really an outside, good bird's eye view. So, does anybody have questions or anything? So there's a motion, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So we will move forward with that, and we can. Long-term capital improvement trust fund, really, I don't think we're ready to deal with that, right?
Yeah, I can just mention that there's a trust fund that districts have looked at for Fund 46. It's been looked at here the past couple of years, but nothing currently is done. It's essentially a 10-year plan improvement, building improvement plan that would be established. And once the fund is established, the money can't be touched for 5 years, and then in 5 years, there can be building improvements and additional monies put into that. And it's something that Twyla and I have talked about. I believe is a good option financially, but we'll bring more information forward in the next month or two.
And if I can just mention, stepping back to the feasibility study and the meeting on the 29th, you may want to have somebody there. There's a lot of information that's coming out. It's just as a heads up. There will be a ton of financial data for the school, plans, talks, and those types of things. There may be some noteworthy stuff. Just FYI, if you want to have somebody there, you're certainly welcome. So we.
I'll have one of my people.
Have your people contact our people. So just let Tom know, because I did tell him that. Well, I let Tom know because he asked about it a while back, and I'm like,
Okay.
hey, when we start, I'll make sure that you.
Do you have the time set up for that and
What
everything?
did we say? 6? Yeah, 6 o'clock, and it'll be next door here,
Okay.
and we'll post it.
In
Also.
the auditorium?
No, in the library.
In the library?
Yeah. So just.
Got it.
You may find something, you may not, but it's an important enough thing, and this is probably going to occupy a lot of our discussions board-wise for the next several months. So this will be really the groundwork of where we're going on that. All right, so with that, I thank everybody for coming out for the 13-minute meeting. Gotcha. But I will take a motion to, anybody else have anything? Then I'll take a motion to go into closed session to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility in order to take personnel action pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19851C. We will meet for probably 15 minutes or less, and we will come out to approve any contracts that may be listed. So. Okay, is there a second? Any discussion? Chelsea? Yes. Dale?
Yes.
Keith? Yes. I vote yes as well. Thanks, everyone.